Canto 11. I. The plot. The Redcrosse Knight reaches the brazen tower in which Una's parents, the King and Queen of Eden, are besieged by the dragon. The monster is described. The first day's fight is described, in which the knight is borne through the air in the dragon's claws, wounds him under the wing with his lance, but is scorched by the flames from the monster's mouth. The knight is healed by a bath in the well of life. On the second day, the knight gives the dragon several sword wounds, but is stung by the monster's tail and forced to retreat by the flames. That night he is refreshed and healed by the balm from the tree of life. On the third day, he slays the dragon by a thrust into his vitals. 2. The allegory. 1. Mankind has been deprived of Eden by sin or Satan, dragon. The Christian overcomes the devil by means of the whole armor of God, shield of faith, helmet of salvation, sword of the Spirit, etc. The soul is strengthened by the ordinances of religion, baptism, regeneration, etc. 2. There is a hint of the long and desperate struggle between Reformed England, St. George, and the Church of Rome, in which the power of the Pope and the King of Spain was broken in England, the Netherlands, and other parts of Europe. Some may see a remoter allusion to the delivery of Ireland from the same tyranny. 13. Be at your keeping well, be well on your guard. 3. This stanza is not found in the edition of 1590. 30. And semd uneath, etc., and seem to shake the steadfast ground, so that it became unstable. Church and naries take uneath to mean beneath or underneath. Kitchen conjectures almost. 31. That dreadful dragon, symbolical of Satan. Spenser here imitates the combat between St. George and the dragon in the Seven Champions of Christendom, I. 32. This description of the dragon watching the tower from the sunny hillside is justly admired for its picturesqueness, power, and suggestiveness. The language is extremely simple, but the effect is awe-inspiring. It has been compared with Turner's great painting of the Dragon of the Hesperides. 42. O thou sacred muse, Clio, the muse of history, whom Spenser calls the daughter of Phoebus, Apollo, and Mnemosyne, memory. 56. Till I of wres, etc. Spenser is here supposed to refer to his plan to continue the Faerie Queene and treat of the wars of the English with Philip II, Paynim king, and the Spanish, Sarrazin. 61. Let downe that haugh string, etc., cease that high-pitched strain and sing a second, or tenor, to my lower tune. 120. As two broad beacons. Kitchen thinks this passage is a reminiscence of the beacon fires of July 29, 1588, which signaled the arrival of the Armada off the Cornish coast. 158. Her flitting parts, her shifting parts, referring to the instability of the air. 161. Low stooping, swooping low to the ground, a term in falconry. 167. Hagrd a wild, untamed falcon. 168. Above his hable might, beyond the strength of which he is capable. 172. He is so diseased, etc., i.e. the dragon being thus dispossessed of his rough grip. The construction is nominative absolute. 185. And greedy geolphy does gape, etc., i.e. the greedy waters gape, as if they would devour the land. 187. The blustring brethren, the winds. 228. His wide devouring oven, the furnace of his maw or belly. 235. That great champion, Hercules. The charmed garment steeped in the blood of the centaur Nessus, whom Hercules had slain, was given him by his wife Deianira in order to win back his love. Instead of acting as a filter, the poison robe burned the flesh from his body. Ovid's Metamorphoses, 9, 105. 28. Observe the correspondence between the adjectives in 50. 244 and the nouns in 50. 245. The sense is, he was so faint, etc. 261. The well of life. This incident is borrowed from Bevis of Hampton. The allegory is based on John 4:14 in Revelation 22:1. 267. Silo, the healing pool of Siloam, John 9:7. Jordan, by bathing in which Naaman was healed of leprosy, II Kings 5:10. 268. Bath in Somersetshire, a town famous from the earliest times for its medicinal baths. Sbau, a town in Belgium noted for its healthful waters, now a generic name for German watering places. 269. Cephisc, the river Cephisus in Boeotia, whose waters possess the power of bleaching the fleece of sheep. Cf. Isaiah I-18. Hebrus, a river in Thrace, here mentioned because it awaked to music the head and lyre of the dead Orpheus, as he floated down its stream. Ovid's Metamorphoses, 1150. 295. To move, moving. This is a French idiom. 300. As eagle fresh out of the ocean wave, etc. There was an ancient belief that once in 10 years the eagle would soar into the Empyrean, and plunging thence into the sea, would molt his plumage and renew his youth with a fresh supply of feathers. 312. His bright daw burning blade, his bright blade flashing with the holy water dew in which it had been hardened, 50. 317. 322. Any molten mettall in his blood embrew, i.e. nor sword bathe itself in his, the dragon's, blood. 335. With sharpe intended sting, with sharp outstretched sting. 366. The griped gauge, the pledge shield seized by the dragon. 386. Missed not his minisht might, felt not the loss of its diminished strength, i.e. though cut off, the paw still held to the shield. 44. In comparing the fire-spewing dragon to a volcano, Spenser follows Virgil's Aeneid, 3:571, and Tasso's Jerusalem Delivered, 4:8. 406. A goodly tree. Cf. Genesis 2:9 and Revelation 22:2. 409. Over all were read, everywhere were spoken of. 414. Cf. Genesis 3:2. Adam and Eve were expelled from the garden, lest they should eat and live forever. 434. Deadly maid, a creature of death, i.e. hell-born. 469. An imitation of an incident in The Seven Champions, in which a winged serpent attempts to swallow scent. George I. 477. Anne back retyrd, and as it was withdrawn. A Gallicism. 490. Which she misdem 500, in which she was mistaken. Una feared that the dragon was not dead. Questions and topics. Canto 11. 1. Describe the 3 days fight between the knight and the dragon. 2. What advantages does each gain? 3. Study the dragon as a type of the conventional monster of romance, contrasting his brutal nature with the intellectuality and strategy of the knight. 4. Study the battle as an allegory of the victory of mind over matter, of virtue over vice, of Protestantism over Romanism. 5. By what devices does Spenser obtain the effects of terror? Mystery and terror are prime elements in romance. 6. Find examples of another romantic characteristic, exaggeration. 7. Do you think that, in his use of hyperbole and impossibilities, Spenser shows that he was deficient in a sense of humor? 8. Observe the lyric note in 3 and 54. 9. How does the poet impress the reader with the size of the dragon? 10. Which muse does he invoke? 11. Spenser's poetry is richly sensuous. Find passages in which he appeals to the sense of sight, 4, 8, 14, of sound, 4, 9, of touch, 10, 11, 7, of smell, 13, of taste, 13, of pain, 37, 26, 22, of motion, 10, 15, 18. 12. Where do you find an allegory of baptism? Of regeneration? Of the resurrection of Christ, the 3 days? 13. Analyze the descriptions of the coming of darkness and of dawn.